Hi students, welcome to Commerce first year class. Today we are going to discuss about cooperative societies. In our previous class we were learning about joint Hindu family business advantages, disadvantages. We have actually four types of non-corporate business units. Non-corporate means where the business is carried out on a small scale basis with a little amount of capital. They are sole proprietorship, joint Hindu family business, cooperative societies, then partnership. So with yesterday's class we have completed joint Hindu family business. First we have done with sole proprietorship. We have learnt features, advantages and disadvantages of sole proprietorship. Then we have completed joint Hindu family business features, merits and demerits. Now we are discussing about cooperative societies. So this is also a popular and commonly known business in India. Cooperative societies, or you can call it as cooperative stores. Okay. You all know the common meaning of cooperation means helping the others. Cooperation means helping the others. So these cooperative societies are formed on the principle of one for all and all for one. One for all and all for one means mutual help. I will help you, and you help me. That is the main concept behind the cooperative societies. I will help you and you help me. In this way we carry out the business. Yes, you may be surprised to know. Sir, what is this? How come helping will become the business? You said profit earning is the business. So cooperative societies are established for mutual help, not to earn some lakhs of profits. The main purpose of the cooperative societies is to serve the members, not to earn profit. But we gain, though we are not earning profits by carrying out the commercial business, but here in cooperative societies we can gain, we can benefit lot of amount by mutual help. What is mutual help? In what way it will help the members? Let me explain with one example. Suppose you have attended one class, you have got some answer with you, you know that particular topic well. Say for example, you have learnt sole proprietorship. Your friend did not learn joint Hindu family. You know that. Suppose if you combine, what you can do? You can share your knowledge. Okay. So you will explain joint Hindu family to your friend and your friend will explain you sole proprietorship. So in terms of education, what happened? By sharing your knowledge, both are benefited. By sharing your knowledge, both are benefited. In terms of cooperative societies, by sharing the capital, all the members are benefited. How come the sharing of capital benefits the members? What is the main objective behind the cooperative societies? Try to understand. Normally in various business organizations, when you try to buy the product, what happens is, suppose manufacturer sells this marker for 20 rupees to wholesaler. Manufacturer sells to wholesaler at 20 rupees. Wholesaler to retailer 30 rupees. Retailer, consumer will sell it for 45 rupees. Try to understand the example. Manufacturer was selling a product, any product, it is marker or a pen or some shirt, example, some water bottle, a mobile phone, whatever it may be. If manufacturer is selling a product for 20 rupees to wholesaler, wholesaler is selling the same product to the retailer at 30 rupees. Okay. Now the retailer is selling it to consumer at 45 rupees. What happened here? By the change of hands, the rate of the product has increased by 25 rupees. 20 rupees product has become, okay, 45 rupees. Increased by 25 rupees. Now who is eating all this money? The wholesaler and retailer is getting the benefit. Manufacturer is able to sell only 20 rupees, but unfortunately consumer is paying it 45 rupees. So here what is the loss to the consumer? 25 rupees. So these are called as mediators. So mediators are enjoying the profits. Consumer is suffering the loss. Now how to avoid? Very simple. If consumer can directly approach manufacturer, he will get the product at 20 rupees only. So he can save a lot of money. But the problem is, consumer cannot approach manufacturer with simple amount of capital. For his 1 or 2 units of goods, for 25 kg of rice, you cannot go to a rice mill. You have to approach a nearby kirana shop. When you can go to a rice mill? When all your neighborhood, all the residents of your apartment or maybe in your lane, some 30-40 members become a group and 40 members require 40 quintals of rice. So for 40 quintals you can go to a rice mill and order the rice. So nearby your shop, the shopkeeper may be selling the rice at 40 rupees per kg. Whereas if you go to a rice mill, you may get that at for 30 rupees only. So per quintal you will be able to save 1000 rupees. So 40 quintals you can save 40,000. So that is the main principle behind the establishment of cooperative societies. Here also we are doing the same, purchasing and selling. But it is not done for profit motive, it is done for service motive. It is for the mutual help for all your neighbors. Rather than going to the nearby retail showroom, retail kirana shop where he is charging high amount, in order to avoid the mediators, consumer has to approach manufacturer. You can approach the manufacturer when you can buy large quantities of goods and when you have more amount of capital. So how do you get that capital? All the members will club. So that is what called as one for all and all for one. All the members, all the group members will contribute the capital, and with that amount they directly go to the manufacturer and they buy the product at lower rate. That's how they are able to save money. So here by directly approaching the manufacturer or by the producer, what we are doing? We are avoiding all the mediators. In market we see so many mediators are there, agents, wholesalers, retailers, other distributors, where everyone they provide service, they make the goods available and they charge their profit. So if you avoid these people, directly if you can approach the manufacturer, you will be able to save a lot of money. That's how the cooperative societies have come into existence. Now what are the features of this? You try to understand. First one, voluntary association. Voluntary association means not forced by anyone. Like any other business, cooperative societies also have got features are same called as characteristics. Features or characteristics are same. Okay. So what are the main characteristics of cooperative societies? Try to understand. First one is voluntary association. means in order to establish a cooperative society, nobody is forcing you. It is only your motive that if we become a group, we form a society. If we unite, we can get some benefit as I have shown in the example. So only with the motive of helping each other may prompt you to start a cooperative society. It is completely your wish. If you want to join, you join the society, otherwise leave it. If you want to form a society, you form. Government or any other person is not forcing you that you start a cooperative society, you get the membership of so and so people. No, not like that. Voluntary means it is your wish. So when you feel that by the principle of cooperation, that is one for all and all for one, that is going to benefit you, then you start a cooperative society. It is your wish. That is called as voluntary association. Association means coming together. I hope all of you know that. Association means coming together. Becoming a group is called as association. Voluntary, apne aap. Nobody is forcing you. The second one is open membership. Open membership means membership is given to everyone, irrespective of caste, religion, creed, gender discrimination. Only male लोग ही members हो रहे हैं. For example, in the previous class we have learnt, in joint Hindu family firm, there was no open membership. Membership was restricted only to that family. The person who has bond in that family can only become the member. Outsiders were not allowed into joint Hindu family. Even though you pay money, even though you write on the agreement, you are not allowed as the member into joint Hindu family. But here, in cooperative society, any person from anywhere can become the member. Just only thing is you have to complete the formalities. Whatever the membership fees you have to pay to the society, you pay and give the necessary documents, you will become the member. Membership is not restricted, or you say it is not denied based on religion, like only particular religion wale member hona, or some high income people only members hona, or say so and so caste people only should become the members. It is not like that. It is open to everyone. That is the second feature of cooperative societies. Number of members, how many members should be there? Okay, remember that in case of cooperative societies, it is a state cooperative society, minimum 10. Minimum 10, maximum any number, no problem. Okay, cooperative societies are registered and controlled as per the Cooperative Societies Act 1912. Cooperative societies, we have got Cooperative Societies Act 1912 is there. Okay, Cooperative Societies Act 1912 is there. According to that, we have got a rule that if the cooperative society is performing its activities in the single state, only one state, minimum should be 10, maximum no limit. Any number of members can be there. There is no mention about the maximum numbers in that Cooperative Societies Act 1912. With respect to multi-state, means if your cooperative society is operating in more than one state, there should be 50 members from each state. There should be 50 members from each state minimum. Say for example, your cooperative society is working both in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. So it should have 50 members from Telangana, 50 members from Andhra. Suppose it is working in both, not only both, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka also. So you should have Telangana 50 members, Andhra Pradesh 50 members and Karnataka 50 members. Okay. If it is only single state, say if your cooperative society is established and performing its activities only in Telangana, minimum 10 members are enough. I hope it is clear. Now, registration of the society. What is registration? Means giving some documents to the Registrar of Cooperative Societies, and as per this act, you have to register. Like for example, in order to ride a bicycle, you don't require any license. So you can ride on the roads, no problem. By cycling you can do. No traffic person is going to ask you what is whether you got the license or not, whether the cycle is insured or not. Will they ask? No, you don't require. But when you drive a bike or a car, you require a valid license. So what you have to do to get a license? You have to provide your SSC certificate, your residential proof. Okay, then you have to show the RTO that you know how to drive. The driving test is conducted, then you are given the valid license. So like that, for everything there will be some formalities. So similarly, for registration of cooperative societies also, you have to submit some documents like the residential proofs of the members, some underwriting that the society is formed to do so and so activities, like in which commodities you are going to trade, where is your office, all that you have to mention and submit to the officer called Registrar of Cooperative Societies. There will be a special officer called as Registrar of Cooperative Societies. To him you submit the documents, then you are given the registration. So registration is compulsory. For previous joint Hindu family and cooperative sole trading concerns, registration was not required. You don't require any license. But in case of cooperative societies, you require registration. When you complete the registration, you will be given a registered number. So this registered number should be written on the board. Without this registered number, you cannot perform your activities. Cooperative societies cannot perform their activities without the registered number. Then state control. State control means government control. Here state doesn't mean Telangana or Andhra Pradesh. Here state refers to government. In civics we will be learning this. State means government. So in case of cooperative societies, government will have control over the cooperative societies. Like you have to show them what are the transactions taken place in your organization, how many members are there, what type of products you are selling, what are your accounts, all the details government will be verifying, it will be checking. So whenever the government authorities ask you, you have to provide the necessary documents. That is called as government control. Like when you are teaching in the class, the college principal has the authority to check the classes, whether the students are writing the notes or not, whether the concerned lecturer is teaching or watching mobile. Okay, anything can happen. So many times we see when a class is going on, the back benches, maybe phones are not allowed, okay. But sometimes in degree at PG colleges, if phones are allowed in engineering colleges, when the lecture is going on, students will be just watching something on mobile. It happens in various colleges. Even sometimes if no one is monitoring, the lecturer or the teacher, instead of teaching, may be watching the mobile. Okay, so that is waste of time. So what is the duty of the principal? He has to see that lecturer is teaching and students are listening. So he has got the authority to check. Understood my example? Similarly, government has the authority to check cooperative societies, whether they are performing well or not, whether in the name of cooperative societies they are cheating the common people. Okay, what are the activities taking place in the society? They have got the authority to check. Capital. What is capital? The amount required to start and run the organization. In my previous classes itself, I have given the definition. Capital is the amount required to start and run the organization. So this is obtained by collecting money from the members of the society. Clear? This is obtained by collecting the amount from each member. Whoever is joining the cooperative society, they have to contribute the amount. Then democratic management. Democratic management means all members can participate in the management. You can participate in the election, you can become the chairman, every person is given the vote, one man, one vote principle is followed. So here I have written. So democracy means we elect our own leaders. Similarly in cooperative society, all the members will conduct the elections, they will elect the chairman. So every member has got the authority to participate in the management. Service motive. Cooperative societies are not formed to earn profit. They are formed to service. Service means what? Selling the goods at lower prices to the consumer. When middlemen are there, mediators are there, they are charging their profit. So the price of the commodity is increasing when it is going to the consumer from manufacturer to wholesaler, wholesaler to retailer, retailer to consumer. In this channel, the rate of the product is increasing. To avoid that, we are collectively combining the capital, the consumer is directly approaching the manufacturer, so we are avoiding these middlemen, so we are able to save. So cooperative societies are not formed to earn profit, they are formed to serve the society, service the members. That means by providing goods and services at cheaper rate, they are going to give you service. One man, one vote. When all the members are participating in the elections, irrespective of your capital contribution, though you have paid more money, you have got more shares, but still one member is given only one vote with respect to elections. Next, cash trading means in this cooperative societies, the goods can be sold to the members only on payment of cash. There will be no credit. Udar nahi rehta. For example, I have established a cooperative stores for textbooks. All the students are my members. Even though you are my members, suppose if you come to me, say, sir, give me commerce textbook, after 1 month I will pay the money. No, sorry. I can give you only on cash basis. You are all the members. We all the members only. We all the students of Sri Medhavi have formed a cooperative society to avail the textbooks and stationery items at cheaper rates. Yes, Sri Medhavi Cooperative Society. So I am the chairman. Someone is accountant. You are all the members. No problem. You have given the capital. But when goods are stored over there, if any student comes and they ask for a textbook, they have to pay cash and take the goods. You have paid only membership money, not for the product. So any product what you require, for that you have to pay cash and get the goods. Cash and carry system, no credit. So whenever you go to some shops, sometimes you can see a board. No credit, no bargaining, no return, no exchange. Have you seen this? Many times you see in the shops. It is written like this. Next time when you go to shops, you observe this. No credit, no bargaining, no exchange. No credit means the shopkeeper is not going to allow you to take the goods on credit basis. What is credit? You take the goods but you will not pay cash now. You will say you will pay later. So that is not allowed here. Only cash. Give the cash, take the product. That is called as cash trading. So these are the very important 10 features of cooperative societies. This question is very important for 10 marks in the annual examination. Features of cooperative societies was given many times. Even this is sometimes it is called as principles also. This also may be called as principles. Principles, characteristics or features of cooperative societies was given many times in the annual examination for 10 marks. So these are the side headings. I hope you understood the concept. Go through the textbook or the answer whatever you have got. Clear? So in our next class we will be discussing about merits and demerits.